Welcome to Psychic Evolution with evidential psychic medium Jamie Clark and spiritual coach and healer Maggie Clark.
And welcome back to another episode of Psychic Evolution. I'm Jamie Clark.
And I'm Maggie Clark, and this is the podcast where you discover the psychic potential within to empower yourself and manifest your psychic and mediumship gifts.
And these abilities are so natural, they're supernatural.
And today we are so honored to be bringing Alena Chapman to our podcast. She is an international best-selling author of 2 books, including Hello Soul, Everyday Ways to Begin Awakening Your Spirituality. And we love the approach that this book takes on connecting with your soul daily. There are so many tips and tricks in this book and guidance on how to connect with your soul, how to live your soul vibe, and more importantly, how to overcome the mind that says that you can't. So this is an awesome book. We highly have been picking this apart and really eating it up. It's a wonderful book. Now, Alena is also a radio show host and podcast host of Soul Talk with Alena Chapman. And she has a #1 syndicated radio show, Magical Moments, that Jamie and I were recently guests on. And we had so much fun with Alena. We are so happy to invite her here. Now, a little bit more about Alena. She works her magic by integrating the wisdom of various religions, spiritual modalities, and scientific research to bring clarity, ease, and flow, along with a greater understanding of soul and soul purpose. So we are really going to dig into Hello Soul. And first and foremost, hello, Alena. Welcome to Psychic Evolution.
Hey there, Maggie and Jamie. It's so wonderful to be on. Thank you for having me. Me too.
As we were reading and you were being activated, what prompted you in this direction, in this evolution of your soul?
Good question. You know, it's really funny. I had always been an unconscious competent. And, and that means, I was given gifts very early, like so many people. And when I started living those gifts, it put me into a different place already at 7 years old. And I lived that way, but I didn't really understand it. I didn't understand why everything was a synchronicity, my mom used to say, you have a rabbit's foot in your pocket, because everything was just lining up. I was singing, I was just getting whatever, I try out for the lead, I get the lead. I do this, everything just falls in my lap. Very Beautiful. Nice, huh? So, yeah. But then when I started listening to other people, like my parents, and I did what they said I should do, even though my intuition, it was still active and it was saying, no. And I did it because of a lot of things. That human clock is going off saying, you got to have some kids before it's too late and all that stuff. So I got married. Not necessarily what I should have done at that time. I have 3 beautiful children because of it. So I'm still think it's a blessing. However, the marriage itself was not healthy for me. I mean, I'm sure another woman would have done great, but for me, it was not for me. And I ended up losing my magic. It was a marriage where I had expectations put upon me, who I was to be, where I was to go, what I was to do, because of how they lived. And I lost the magic. I lost it totally. So, and when I decided, when I was not very happy, I thought, where did my magic go? And I went on a search back for it. And, I started with the gratitude. I started to get my vibration up because I knew that was important. And then when I started to really start getting a little bit of the magic back, of course you crave more, right? But more than that, I wanted more than just being an unconscious competent or even a conscious somewhat competent. I wanted that full feeling of being guided by this incredible force that has helped me be the unconscious competent. I wanted to be in communication. I wanted to hear it. I wanted to live by it and become more like it. And that's what started on my journey.
And how did it feel, as possibly you may have felt that you were losing yourself to that relationship, that possibly you began to live for others rather than for yourself? How empowering was that for your own self-realization to go, oh, I've always had the power. It took me this length of time to realize it. Why do you think it took you these amount of years in life experience to finally activate that connection?
Yeah. Well, number one, I lived unconscious competent for a very long time.
Most of us do, yep.
All through the singing. I was an associate professor of music for a long time, lived it until I got married. I think when things are good in our lives, we don't ask questions. And because it's good, why would I? You don't go looking for a teacher if things are just flowing beautifully for you, right? You've got it. You've got the magic, right? But when you don't have the magic, when it goes away, that's when you say, why is everything so hard? Why is everything so heavy? Why is it that I'm tired? Why is it that I'm kind of sour? And this is the thing. I think so much of it's really great to live, to give, but to live for other people alone and doing what they want of you, well, you can't do it because your soul is here for a reason. And it's got its own, what we call manifesto or purpose. And when you are living what other people or how other people want you to live, it goes against the very foundational reason you are here. It goes against every grain, every muscle, every cell of your body. And I know some people say, yeah, but you don't have to work. You get to be relaxed. You get to just, yeah, but you're not here to do that, guys. So you're here to actually fulfill a lesson, to learn. We come down here to experience, to create, and to love. That's it. And when we're not doing that, every part of us just rebels. So I think when it does rebel, that I did know.
Right.
Boy.
Upside the head. Yep.
Did I ever. But my mother once said, she said, I was on the phone with her and she goes, oh my gosh, you sound so bitchy.
Mama knows best. Reality check.
Oh God, sometimes. And that was
a wake-up
the right,
call,
that,
right?
that was it. Yeah, that's what I said. Wow. Yeah, that's not me.
Right.
I've never sounded that way in my life. So it was time for me to turn around. And I didn't like jump in like crazy, like a diet or something. I tiptoed in. I started with my gratitudes because I always had great gratitude. And when I lost that really affected me. And I have an incredible thing for the sky. I just love the sky.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm in doubt, I always look at the sky. And I found some meditation groups. I thought, I'll try that. And then I started trying other stuff. And more I was starting to get in touch with just raising the vibration, getting that stillness so that I could look at what was wrong with my life to begin with and what I needed for me. And the thing is, that sounds selfish, but guess what? It's not. Because if things aren't right for us, and if everything's not right for us, we can't
Absolutely.
give. We can't open up to our psychic abilities. Oh, and that's the other thing. The wonderful gift I had when I was 7, when I lost the magic, when I was unhappy and my cells were rebelling and my soul was rebelling,
Look
I
at
lost
what you're
that
saying.
gift.
That's powerful. But
Isn't
in
that
addition,
amazing?
the fact that
I
our
know.
abilities do not control us, we control our abilities. And the ability to have that reassurance, that reclaiming of your own awareness, your soul part of consciousness, that power. Did people begin to make comments in a way to go, instead of like, hey, you're so lucky, did they begin to go, is everything okay? Are you all right? And, you start going, is there something to this? Because I keep hearing it. Did they also begin to acknowledge
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
became the empowerment of your own realization?
Yeah. When I started getting the magic back, it's true, I started to actually lose people because the people I had in my life
Right.
were all miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if they're all miserable and you come in as Miss Sunshine, because you are like excited by life again and your gifts are starting to open up and you want to tell people. And these people, no, they don't like that. There'll be a few that came along, but the majority were very happy to gossip and stay in that low level and, just be kind of cutting and sarcastic. They like that. That's where they're comfortable. So you do lose people. But I had a really good friend say to me, because I asked this at the beginning. I said, if I really, really go for this and open the gifts I know I have and develop new ones, I'm going to lose everybody that I know. And she said to me, a very wise friend, said, yeah, but will you be happy staying where you are?
Click.
Yeah, no. Yeah, click. Because once you know it,
And
yeah,
that
you
becomes
can't
the
go back.
dynamic as you
It's just
tune into other
impossible.
channels. You will either bring people with you or they begin to drop off. And I found that exactly like you were saying is I was
Right.
always living for others and I will always help others in any and every way I can, but I kept forgetting about myself. And I found after all those
Yeah.
years that I was starting to live for other people. And the more that I was living for others and not myself, everyone started disappearing. They got busy, they moved, whatever the case is. And then when I started to reconnect with myself, to bring that connection, that conscious connection back into my awareness, people started coming back in. I kind of saw that as life is an experience and a reflection of our consciousness. That the more I was finding myself within life, the more I was finding life within me. And not only that, that eternal Akashic records or Solodex, in being able to be eternal and realize our soul essence, have you checked in with the Akashic records to find maybe a little bit more about yourself or others?
I did not go to the Akashic records so much, but I do value them. I know people who do them and they do fantastic work in bringing that to people. I went more of I had friends that were shamans. I was more looking forward at that time. And I decided to find out. We have a wonderful way to find what your soul purpose is. And it's not being a dentist or a
Right.
lawyer like we think. But it is something that you probably already know but don't realize it. Because your soul tries to bring it forward to you all the time. And the shamans had a wonderful way to bring that forward to me. I found out that really I am all about learning 3 things here this time. And that is, one of them is freedom, which really, gosh, does that only the kettle black, because I can't stand to see anything being persecuted in any sort of way or not having their voice, or I'm always there for the underdog. I've always been that way. And that's one thing. And then I'm supposed to learn about unconditional love, but the other side of it, which isn't so fun, but once you understand it, you understand. And the other thing is that wonderful compassion. What it's like not to experience it defines what we have in the light. So you learn the opposite of what, you think, to define those wonderful good
Right. The
things
law
that
of
you
polarity
already
kicks
know
in and you
from the
see,
light.
oh, I live certain types of this side of the coin, but really my soul, it wants me to live on the other side of the coin and create this bridge and this balance so that it's more unified.
Yeah. Yeah. If we start to understand this world is, well, an illusion, but if we really understand that it really is here for us to grow spiritually and not so much monetarily, although that's nice, but it is not the reason why we're here. Or maybe that is one of your lessons. Who knows? But to understand that we're really here evolves that whole universe. And that's really why we're here, guys. It's much bigger than, oh, I think I'll be a dentist today and I don't know, whatever. I want to write a book tomorrow. It's much deeper than that.
But what's interesting is you also bring up a very fascinating point, is that as you were kind of maybe losing yourself to life and relationships and friendships that were changing, your spirituality never left you.
No.
You've always had these connections.
No.
And now as you began to connect and communicate with yourself, you just pulled those connections to the shamans or whoever it is to go, oh, hey, this spiritual stuff has always been here. Now it's my way of understanding it. Because working and studying, I believe, with Bob Proctor and Wayne Dyer and a variety of others, did you begin to see the buffet of life experience to realize it can be a little of this, a little of that? Not that it has to be all or nothing. How did that work for you?
Yeah. You're supposed to put your toe in everywhere. I have 3 boys and they're all, they're going, well, 2 of them want entrepreneurs, building his life. So all of them, I said, this is fantastic. And I'm so glad you're getting your goals and you're doing what your heart is singing for. But don't be surprised when it comes and all of a sudden your heart sings for something else. Because we're meant to dabble. What we're here to experience is an experience. Yeah. And the more you start to experience, the more you learn. The more you learn, your soul evolves. It's really not a very simple formula. And that's why we don't fail in this life, which we always want to think we fail, but we don't.
And along the way, having these spiritual experiences, I've had many of my own. What was one of your most amazing spiritual experiences along this journey?
I've had so many ways that in the wonderful journeying I do to all the different lands and different places in the universe, I work very closely now with Archangel Michael. And he's actually takes me sometimes kicking and screaming, but he actually does teach me and take me on things that I never thought I would do. And one of my clients, her family had an old curse way back. Her grandfather had married an Indian person, and they were both alcoholics. And when she died she fell when drunk, and the family cursed all the family. So anyway, she said that she had this thing on her. Well, and I sent her to shamans. Go get it taken care of over there. But they wouldn't do it. And I thought, that is strange. Now, see, that's your first clue, because you're about to go on a journey. When you say that is strange, there you go, guys. It's time for you to grow. And I said, all right, I'll do it. Right. So then I went up into my journey and I said to Archangel Michael, I said, all right, hey, can you help me with this? Because I don't know what I'm doing. And he said, well, you don't know who you were. You don't know the things you have done. This is not new to you at all. I said, seriously. And so they come with me. So I went to her room, and that's kind of like, you travel. And I saw it there. And I said, okay, Archangel Michael, you go for it.
Good luck. What happened?
And he said, no, Alena, no, hon.
Delegation, I love it.
Yeah, really. I'm saying, hey, go for it. I'm happy to watch this. But he said, no, you have this power. And he said it just right like that. You have this power. Step forward and take it. That's it. That's what he said. And this is what was so amazing, guys. We just don't know the power we have. I stepped forward and I said, get out, in my little female voice here. But that's not the voice that came out. It was, this humongous voice that just reverbed. And then all of a sudden I had this staff in my hands, which I didn't have a staff. But what's really funny is I had bought a staff the week before, which is very interesting. Log that one in the back of your brain.
Divine
and
timing.
I slammed down that staff, and the whole room turned to light, and that thing was gone. I did that. Little old me.
Yeah.
And of course, being human, you have to confirm it, right? So I asked her, I said, okay, how do you feel? I asked her a week later. I don't know what you did, but I don't have this problem anymore. And I thought, wow, isn't that cool? I wanted to show, because we do not understand how incredibly powerful we are.
I think that we are so conditioned to give our power to other things and things outside of ourselves, and to discover that inner power, the inner strength, that we have the ability, the energy. You know, instead of calling an expert, Michael's like, you can do this. Why not? You know, and
Yeah,
that's a huge
step
part
forward and
of,
claim it.
yeah, it's a huge part of soul discovery, is
It is.
realizing we are so much more powerful than we've ever given ourselves credit for.
Yes, we are.
Now, when you say went on a journey, is this through like a meditative state, an
It is.
astral plane type of energy?
Journeying is the way that shamans and Indians and shaman don't have to be a shaman, but like Native Americans, Peru, Nordic, Europe, the people who are on kind of that journey, it's just another way to meditate. But the thing is, with journeying, it has an intention, where in transcendental, say, meditation or mindfulness, you're breathing, or you are just wanting just total stillness. And for me, when I first started to meditate, I'm sitting in this giant room, and every time I close my eyes, all I see is black, and I'm fidgety, and I get giggly, and that's not good. So when I went to journeying, all of a sudden, that came easily. I mean, incredibly easily. And what it is to just suffer with that blackness like I did. So I actually have developed a way that I journey, and all my work, as I work you through the chakras to get to your own soul and your inner divine. And I do believe you cannot take a shortcut, because really it's your mind. Your mind will put a glass ceiling on anything you do. You have to go through working through the chakras. I use the journeys to help you, and I have developed these guided journeys where I get you through the portal. I get you to that wonderful state of total theta, and then I release you into what, your sacred space, or you open the door, and before you know it, you are in another plane, and you're talking to whoever, or you're learning about yourself. And that's what journeying is. It's going somewhere. It's going past the portal of this world and the other.
And in journeying with your soul, as you were communicating more with your essence, and in this case, Archangel Michael, did you begin to do more mediumship? Because during that, you're doing mediumship. Did that become part of your conscious awareness, where you were picking up soul prints coming through?
Soul prints. I did gain this wonderful gift that if I look at a person's eyes, I see their soul. Mm-hmm. I see their soul. I can tell their whole story from just their eyes, which is amazing. I have given the gift that, ghosts, we call them ghosts. I call them lost souls. I was told that my purpose was to open the light for them, and that they would come to me. And they do, to this day. I'll get 2 or 3 a night at least. And during COVID, it was awful. I got 9 or 10. That's very hard. If I go by a cemetery, I'll open up the light and say, okay, everybody who wants to go, you're now open.
Notice you say it unconditionally.
I do that.
Not like you have to. It's, hey, whoever's open can do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anybody, because sometimes lost souls don't know where they can go. And so, and it's not fun. It's not fun to be a ghost and not evolve. And that's not your purpose. You're supposed to be one with the universe, so that you evolve. You don't, we can come down. I don't know how that process so much, but I do know we come back down, and that's our reincarnation. But I can't tell you exactly why or what you do there. That's not what I concern myself with. But I was given the gift to be able to take my brother straight in to the light, because he didn't, again, Archangel Michael said, he doesn't trust anyone than you. You have to take him. I didn't want to go. I was scared I wouldn't come back.
And apparently you had Archangel Michael helping to facilitate this, to go, hey, you can do this.
Oh, yeah. He said, well, he needs you. And I said, okay. And Joan, I have a guide named Joan. And believe your imagination, because everybody laughed at me when I said my guide was Joan.
Why?
They all had hickey picky daka daka or something, you know? And I sat there and said, Joan, and I swear everybody just their mouth fell open. And I asked her 3 times, her name is Joan. And your guide is someone who knows you. It's somebody who's, gosh, they're there for your whole life. That one particular guide. There's lots of guides, but there's one guide that stays with you. And Joan is been with me forever. I just love her. And she said, I'll pull the cord when it's time. You will stay attached. Don't worry. And I took him up. And guys, I'll tell you what, the feeling, oh my gosh, you are light as a feather. And that incredible feeling of love. Oh my Lord, you have never, ever felt anything so good. And that joy and that peace, everything in you. Me, I just want to giggle because it's so wonderful. And then when I got there, it is so white. I mean, picture a really sunny day with snow. You know how that blinds you? Now triple it. And it's like, it's really hard to even open your eyes. And when you do, I saw like this mass white. I describe it like a cloud, but it's not a cloud. But this white, it feels like a cloud. And then all of a sudden, it broke apart like into millions of souls. And they were all exuding this incredible love. It was, wouldn't want to come back. It was just like, you were home. You're home. And it's the most wonderful welcoming. And for anybody who wants to know, there is no judge.
Exactly.
There's no Peter saying, well, you did this and this. Why would Peter even do that? Come on. Nobody does that. It's you. And if you believe as you walk and you start to feel that love, you're in. That's it.
And that's a big thing, opening that belief system. And I found that the more I began to believe, but it also, as I began that, I shifted my belief system to a knowing system with confidence, not cockiness. You know, and the ability to back that solidly, right, without an ego. Man, we're no better, no worse. Just do you. You know, interestingly enough, but dealing with Archangel Michael and Jesus, those are 2 of the beings that are on my team as well. With that, with some of the scientific studies that I've done, because we want to put the practicality of spirituality, you know, the ability to get a little more scientific with this stuff. Have you found more connections like being with Jesus and Archangel Michael? Have they led you to other beings, other ascended masters or angels?
Oh gosh, yes, of course they have. Definitely Gabriel. I've the 4 main ones there. I've also had incidences with Seraphim. I have worked with, of course, my guides that just come in. This one cool little Indian guy who always takes me to water. And I don't know her name, this old lady, and I just love her. And she loves to take me in and teach me about, you know, you have so many spirits up there that are all there to help us on this planet, because that's your home. They know who you are. Consciousness. Well, this is how, let me put it that way, okay? If you are in that mass consciousness, then you can be, and I know I'm treading on, I'm going to get backlash for this one. I just feel it. Oh, God. But you become just as omnipresent, because that is part of spirit. You are one voice. You may have the different knowledges, of like the herbs and the water but you, even Jesus, you are one voice. And I've worked with Ra. I love the son who was considered.
Right.
But it's all one voice. So when we start to know that wonderful, and of course you hear God or whatever you call that source, okay? That is the thread that's running through everything. Yeah. And that is your co-pilot. And that is the one voice
and I think you bring up a very
hearing.
interesting point, and that is, unless you have your own spiritual experiences like you and I have done, or you graduate life, every time I connect, my soul is full. It's like the best meal I've ever had, the best mood I've ever been in, effortless love. And just like you shared, no judgment ever on the universe's part, completely loving and accepting. And every time I have that unification of consciousness, the words that come back to me are, and who are you now? Like, holy cow, is that eternal being? Yeah. And with part of past life regressions, have you gone beyond this planet of existence and that you've gone on? What about other worlds before you got here? Other essence of species?
Oh, it's very interesting. I have gone. I didn't know I was going. And that's the thing, you trust. And that's the most important thing, is to trust. It is. I did go back to before humans. I didn't even realize it. It was very interesting. And actually, I was there. I said, show me where I can get. I want to be in the land of ideas. And they actually took me there. And I thought that was a very interesting
choice. But you literally
got
that.
It was
the land. Like, holy cow, literally and symbolically. Like, whoa, wow. And my conscious just landed on it. Holy.
Oh, yeah. 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 Oh, gosh. And then you just have to knock. Knock and believe. That's all you have to do. Life is vibration. Everything is vibration. And you actually, the shamans, which I'm on a journey. I'm not a shaman. I am on the journey, but I'm also on the journey of a couple other things. And that's what's so cool, guys. You don't have to define. I hate defining myself because I am not in any kind of bound. I don't want to be bound. I want to experience it all. So why do I have to label myself anything, right? First of all. But I can play and experience and grow.
All right, guys, stay tuned as we dive more into spiritual experiences with Alena Chapman. We will be right back.
Hey guys, it's Jamie and Maggie Clark with Psychic Evolution. We want to share an upcoming Starseed Awakening retreat.
We're teaming up with Infinite Healing from the Stars. That's Vivian Chavette, an Octurian hybrid, and Peter Benson with Tensor Energy Tools. And we're joining them for a weekend retreat in Phoenix, Arizona, July 22nd through 24th of 2022. And we're here to assist you in discovering your purpose as a starseed and how to align and activate your starseed DNA. Let the ascension begin with this multidimensional, intergalactic, and interactive journey. Included will be Arcturian holographic healing, ancestral starseed mediumship, planetary grid realignment, and exercises to embody your starseed DNA. You are cosmic celestial energy. Visit jamieclark.net to register and for more information. We look forward to gathering with like-minded starseeds.
Free your inner space astronaut and immerse yourself in your starseed heritage.
And for our podcast listeners, we do have a coupon code to take $75 off your registration at checkout. Enter the coupon code INTERGALACTIC and pay attention at checkout to see what your total is, because the language of the universe is always speaking to you. And welcome back to Psychic Evolution. We are with Alena Chapman, who is a soul journeyer, an author, and let's dive into her history of her psychic gifts.
Growing up, were you able to flourish in your home? Because for myself, from a very young age, I was able to use my psychic abilities. It was embraced. The whole family used it. Not everyone is fortunate enough to grow up in a home like that. Some of us like, hey, that's some bad stuff. You're going to be one of them there crazies. Were you allowed to be yourself more?
No. I was a Catholic girl. And my mom, who also was very gifted, and my Nona, my grandmother, very, very, very gifted, but they were afraid. And fear is the killer of everything. You have fear and you can't get over that fear. You know, it's the opposite of love and it's a destroyer. So when you have fear, they were very afraid. And I remember even when I got my first gift, but God, it created such problems. When I was 7 and I was told by the angels that I had this gift to open the light for lost souls, I was playing hooky that day from school. and and I always played hooky. And the nuns were driving me crazy. Mm-hmm. So I went down to tell my mother because I thought this is incredible. And my mom, oh my God, she was aghast. And she said, no. That was a curse. And she puts, real, serious, like awfulness on it, like the evilness of the world. And then she even told the priest. And the priest, like, really told me she had an active imagination that should be tamed. Yeah.
You know,
very sad.
Well, and it's life experience. But also, I have a lot of people coming to me that are in any of these beautiful religions, whatever works for you. But their pain is outweighing their fear of condemnation from the big guy. You know, and they'll come to me going, Jamie, I've never been to somebody who does what you do, and my church don't look too kindly upon this. And my first response is, first, congratulations for having the guts to sit here. Second, let's just get a basic meaning of mediumship. To me, a basic meaning is to consciously connect with a being, a spirit, an entity outside of a physical body. Is that decent? I'd be like, yeah, exactly. I said, okay, well, with that definition, if you talk to God, Jesus, the angels, you're doing mediumship. And I'm willing to bet with that particular style of mediumship, you're hoping and praying for life-changing miracles and instant communication. You know, and they're like, oh, yeah. So again, it's so much a part of us. It is first nature, not second nature.
It is. It really is. And I'll tell you, that's why I always say when someone does come, they always say, now, are you against religion? And I say, no, I'm here. Everything I do enhances whatever you are doing in your religion and your belief system.
Nice.
And so that is because all of a sudden that faith that was so elusive becomes firm belief. So
I think that it's not either or, it's inclusive.
Right.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was funny. I've always seen the glory of God and the universe in every church that I taught music in, and the choirs and the people and the word. I was never one who got absorbed in the dogmas. I always got absorbed into feeling the energy. And when everyone's rejoicing and singing, that is when their hearts are lifted, their minds are open.
And
all of a sudden
realities.
You feel the presence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The I am.
I always
It's everywhere.
I always encourage people to not look at what separates us, but what keeps us together. And every religion, their common denominator is faith. Yeah. Faith that we're connected to this beautiful thread that does connect the oneness, the God, the creator, the universal source energy through everyone. And that faith it's what keeps religions like really thriving and really supporting people on their path. And I'm the same with you. You don't have to give up your religion, but you might have to be more open in your beliefs around other religions or other types of, experiencing your spirituality.
I also say, just kind of check which is a man-made belief and which one is God in the universe. And if you really want to open up in your religion, follow what is God in the universe. And then you don't get tied down with the dogmas of stuff.
Yeah.
And how freeing that can be
it's
from the
very
shackles of life experience to the freedom of empowerment.
Yeah, it totally is. You're never a victim anymore, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love in your book where you open up and you're like, good morning, hello, soul. Like, I'm here today.
I do.
I love this practice. I find that I wake up and I'm like, okay, give gratitude because I woke up this morning. It's a good day. And I always talk about creating a vision of your divine self, which is nothing more than connecting to your soul. But I always tell people, create this vision and put it on like you'd put on clothing. Every morning you get out of bed and you put on the vision of your divine self. And it's so similar to how you address this in your book, like, good morning, hello, soul. Wake up, I'm awake, let's go. I love this approach because it's so inviting, it's so awakening, it's such a beautiful way to say, I am more than just this physical body and this physical experience. I'm a soul. I'm going to follow this guidance, follow this love vibe. And I do really appreciate the way that you structured your book as well, just so our listeners know it's structured beautifully. Because you have a chapter and then you have information on and practices that you can take, questions you can ask yourself. I mean, you can really take this book and go deep into a process of discovering the soul vibe. Yeah. So check the book out, listeners. Hello, Soul by Alena Chapman. It is fabulously written and really well structured, so you're supported whether you're right brain or left brain. I was reading the book and I was like, okay, this is going straight to my creative, imaginative sweet spot. And then it would shift a little bit and get a little bit more into my left brain. And it felt very much a way to blend wherever you're approaching this book from whatever angle. I feel like it's relatable to anybody.
Yeah. I really wrote this book a lot different than I've written the past books because no one wants to be told what to do. And on top of that, not one shoe fits all. And so I really decided, you know what? I'm going to try just sharing my journey, how I did it. And if someone falls right into that and wants to do it just like that, wonderful. But then I put at the end that focus or time to fair with the 3 or sometimes 5 different ways that you can go about this same thing, but it's yours, or adapt it or change it. I mean, we might be of one consciousness, but boy, we definitely learn and do things in different ways. And we have our own journey to travel. And when you can just adapt something to you, you get your own experience with the same goal. And why not call from help from home, who can give us the experiences of that other world? You know, I think, and it helps us on this planet with our journey. And right now, right in this time and space, in this wonderful world we live in, we need that. I think people need that little bit of a knowing that there is something so much bigger, and that is part of us. Because it will help us to dive into that and get that higher perspective. And we come more from love instead of the ego and wanting to be best or right or God. I hate it when we always say God is on our side and the other side says God's on our side. Well, God's not on either side when it's fighting.
Exactly.
So it's love. It's in between both sides. And I think when we have people see some of these things and experience it, and they say, oh my gosh, you know, we need to do things a little bit differently. That would be a godsend. It really would. Yeah.
And how do we come to live in that reality? How do you guide people into living in that reality where you know you have choice, you know this is an experience, you know there's the oneness and the connection of the soul? How do you guide people to come to actually ground this into their everyday?
When I love to open, I even interviewed someone who just gets you right in, she calls the soul the intuitive. That's a new thing. They call that intuition. Intuition is a gift. It's a way of communicating from the soul, but it's not the total inner wisdom of the soul. There's much more. But she loves to just tap them in. And I said, don't you have to work through some of the disbelief? And she said, no. Well, it doesn't stay with you. It doesn't stay. And this is the thing, guys. Right. When we evolve, if we haven't established that in ourselves, then We are smart. We are extremely smart. And guess who else is also really smart? Our ego, our critical mind. And what happens is it will start sounding like you want the soul to sound, but with different ends. So if you're just trusting that, I tapped in, I'm good, you're going to be fooled. And because you haven't done it in the proper procedure. And I know that sounds so authoritarian, but you have to get rid of some stuff to be able to open the veil in this world and above. You just have to.
And how do you say bye-bye to the critical mind?
That's a good question. I find that what I do is I help them to, I got lots of exercises for you to train your mind not to have that. Okay, I can do mindset like crazy. Mm-hmm. But when I work in the sacred, it's so much easier to really establish hearing that wonderful it's a small voice, guys, that small voice, and recognizing it and knowing it's the soul and get so firm in that. And every time you hear it, it decreases the importance and the loudness of the critical ego. And so now, how do we keep that? Well, there are lots of ways that we keep. Mostly what you're doing is you're keeping yourself open because it's there. It wants to be. It's you. It's your higher self, folks. It wants to be you. So what I do is I start establishing habits with people to keep it open. I don't feel that everyone has to stay with me forever. So what I want is, I've been told in meditations, now it's time to lead living body souls to the light. So when I do that, I am tools. So if you create, the job is, just like in a soul retrieval, when you bring back parts of your soul, you have to create an environment that soul wants to stay in. You can't abuse it. You can't go into toxic relationships after you do this and expect, just like I did what somebody else wanted me to do. I did what they said, and I got married and who the type of person they wanted me to marry. And all of a sudden, I lost it. Well, you will lose it. A toxic relationship, a job that really you hate. You put yourself back into the bad environments, you will then lose the vibration, lose the hearing, and the critical ego will take over again. It's that simple. So when you start to open, and when you're going through this evolution, you've got to protect yourself in that way. You don't want to be around all that negativity because it'll hamper you. And when you get out, you'll start to see you can build your world. This life is an illusion. And what you become on the inside, and if you honor that, you got to honor it and you got to love it, then you're not going to let it be polluted. And if it's not polluted, then you'll start to see this whole physical world will change for you.
Absolutely. The mirror of the, from the macrocosm to the microcosm, from within to without. Yeah. It does. It follows the energy.
As above as below.
The energy vibe. Yeah. Whether, when we are working with the soul, we're working through the love frequency. And when we're working with that critical mind and the ego, we are working through what creates fear. Fear is a big motivator to keep us safe. And the ego is there to keep us safe. But it does need to be integrated to those higher levels of love vibrations to be optimal. And I'm with you. I think it does take that inner work. I don't think it's like one and done. You say a mantra and you're good.
Spirituality.
I feel like you have to. Absolutely. I feel like you have to sit with this and see where it shows up in your life, where it has showed up in your life. And then if it's still showing up in your life, what do you need to change or shift around that? Where can you bring in more love and more of that eternal soul frequency to those experiences? And those are the questions that everyone should be asking themselves daily. And I just love how you ask this daily.
Oh, yeah.
And just reminding people, hey, every day say hello to your soul. Every day make those connections. And if you take that moment, however long that moment is, whether it's 2 seconds or 20 minutes or 3 hours, when you're saying, hello, soul, you're awakening to love, and you're already shifting the vibration.
You shifted tremendously. And the
That's
things
beautiful.
that you get in the morning when you do that. I mean, the things that they download to you can make your day into this beautiful place. So, you're on a winning streak right there. And I don't want people to think that they have to like shut off from the world forever, because I don't. Politics I always found very interesting and kind of like a hobby. So, I watch what's happening once in a while. I don't watch news, but I do. You always are informed. There's no way not to be. And when I do that, but I don't get into the drama. That's what you will find. All of a sudden, the drama isn't there. And you start to see things from this higher perspective. And you see how the puzzle fits together. And there's no reason for the drama. There's all compassion and love, but there is no drama. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about, when you connect to soul and you connect to love and you connect to those high vibrations, you're then on those channels that they don't have room for the rest. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And that higher perspective is everything. It's like you got to think the universe is looking down and all they're doing is sending love. So I hope people enjoy. Oh, and Soul Manifesto and this Hello Soul book. And yes, I do love connecting to my soul. That soul is, you're going to love connecting to yourself. But when if you order that, go to soulmanifesto.com because they sold out on Amazon. So
problem to have.
I know, isn't that interesting? I keep saying, when are you going to put some more on there? But so the website soulmanifesto.com is kind of more fun anyway, because if you go on there and order, we actually give you a little gift with it, and it looks really pretty, and celebrate it a little. So order it from there. Yeah. Have some joy.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be on our podcast today.
Yes.
We love you. We love your personality. We love your light in the world. And thank you so much for bringing that soul vibe even closer to here and showing the world how you can be a living, walking example of happiness, of a reality created just by connecting to your soul. It's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Alena.
Well, and thank you. And guys, everyone out there, make sure you connect to Magical Moments and see Maggie and Jamie there, because they did an amazing interview. So, yeah, I appreciate that. We're on the same channel.
That's why we're talking.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Alena.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And we'll have a link in the show notes for all of Alena's information at soulmanifesto.com and some social media links as well. And please check out her radio show and podcast, Soul Manifesto with Alena Chapman, and also Magical Moments.
Hello, my beautiful goddesses. It's Maggie from the podcast Psychic Evolution, and I want to invite you to a fall equinox 5-day, 4-night, all-inclusive women's retreat in 2022, where you explore your feminine essence through the potent medicine of the goddess, witch, and womb, the multifaceted essence of your wild woman. Are you ready to take the time for you? This is a true escape from reality where you will learn, grow, and nurture your soul, as well as rest and reset. Gather with like-minded sisters to explore the essence of feminine magic, what it means to be embodied, how to love yourself on a deeper level than you ever have before, through ancient ceremonial magic and the spirit of plants. This journey into the unknown will create space for the breakthroughs you've always hoped for. Visit mysticharmonyrose.com to register and for more information. And I am honored to join you in Sedona at this retreat. I look forward to seeing you there. If you have been enjoying this podcast, we please ask that you go to Apple Podcasts and go ahead and rate this podcast. Leave us an awesome review. We really appreciate your reviews. They mean a lot to us, and thank you so much. If you are listening to this on something other than Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review on our website. We also have a little microphone on the bottom right-hand corner of our website. If you want to ask a question and leave us a question, it will be a voicemail recorded. We'll play back your voice on this podcast and answer your questions if we can get to them all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you guys.
Love and light, and we'll see you in our psychic evolution.